And now moving on to our another presentation of the session. Then the topic is orthokeratology. Live for today, hope for tomorrow. So to guide us, today we have with us Professor Monica Chaudhary for today's session, who is Director of School of Health Sciences, Gurgaon, India. So I welcome you, ma'am, and we are honored to have you here today in this session, and I request you to proceed with your presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mero. And after hearing to such great legends in the contact lens field, especially Shehzad and all, an excellent show that has been created, and talking about orthokeratology. And I believe there are a lot more sessions tomorrow also on orthokeratology. But what I decided to speak to you is actually enlighten the audience, because my realization is that in Nepal, orthokeratology has been initiated, but not to a vast extent. So my purpose here in this presentation is making everybody understand that today is for orthokeratology, and we have to be prepared for the future. So just a little bit basics for those who have not known what orthokeratology would be. It is simply straightening of the cornea by reduction, modification, or elimination of refractive anomalies by a programmed application of contact lenses. So is it new? It's nothing new. It's been age-old history of these orthokeratology procedures, which is reshaping the cornea. But in 1972, a reverse geometry design, it is typically what Shehzad has been telling, we have a cornea which is center steep and periphery flat. So now what is done is a contact lens, which is regularly we do is a center steep lens and periphery flat. We have a reverse geometry. The center being flat and the periphery being steeper, we start flattening the cornea by a series of these programmed lenses. It's an FDA approved 2002 lens which has been in the market globally for years together, and it's nothing new for this world. But very recently, last few years, we've been hearing too much about all these things, and the basic purpose is myopia, the prevalence, the increasing numbers. Figures have said that it is estimated 2.5 billion by 2020. This was WHO study old, which said will become myopic. And then there have been papers where they have said that China and countries like this, there have been university students where almost whole of the university, 95.5% are myopic. There have been studies in India also where we got 30-40% of children who are getting myopic, and globally across the Asia, the numbers increasing in myopia and the quantity of these myopics or the power that they have has been going up. So it's a big concern to the whole world, and the world is getting aware about this myopia. Now, simply because myopia was there, yes, but why the numbers are increasing? We are talking about a genetic environment where one mother, or we say if it is one parent, it is 25% chance, two parents, 50% chance, both of them myopic, your big chance that you're going to give back this to the next generation. And there are environmental factors, which is a big thing happening now, that you have more near work. Everybody is digitalizing and getting into these things. We have less time outdoors, higher educational levels, more urbanization, and everything added to it, with children, the youngest ones, being most of the time busy with their digital screens and not being outdoors. We beautifully have this sunshine. We are the countries which have wonderful sunshine also. And that sunlight stimulates the release of retinal dopamine, which is controlling the eyeball growth. But being indoors means we are more restricted inside, more near work, environmental factors, and the eyeball is growing, and hence the myopia is progressing. So what if myopia progresses? We all know when it starts, we have about 0.5 diopter increase per year. But if the child is just 7 years, 8 years, 9 years with almost a -1 myopia, imagine when he'll be an adult. He'll be full-fledged -8, -10 myopic. And what happens when you cross over those or come into the high myopia category? Your higher chances of cataract, glaucoma, macular degeneration, retina detachment. And there are proven research papers which have said, yes, these are the numbers where odd ratios have increased, and there are a lot of research papers which have said so. So progression of myopia, pharmacologically, atropine, 0.01%. Of course, it started with some percentages, came down to this. It has been in the market now. Ophthalmologists love to do this, but there have been controversies also in this kind of prescriptions. There are some papers which have proved it, some which have contradicted it. So still, yet it's in the, I would say, stages where we are learning, typically like what we are learning in the COVID vaccine. So there were special contact lenses, and we have the multifocal soft contact lenses. Of course, in developing countries like us, we are very recent and new to these. I have done since last year some of the patients. But yes, the other thing that we have done, we have known in contact lenses now, and that's what we are talking about, is orthokeratology. It's a simple principle that we are talking about in orthokeratology, how it works to control myopia. So you have a spectacle lens, which is a concave lens. Look at the image which is found behind. So there is a positive curvature of field, and hence the peripheral elongation happens in the eyeball, intends to increase. So what is done by orthokeratology? You have actually reshaped the cornea, and now the optics of this image, which is forming at the back side, is a negative curvature of field, and hence it is curving the lens of the eyeball inside rather than projecting at the back because of the peripheral defocus which has been seen. So it inhibits this actually then inhibits the progression of myopia. We've had our mentor, Professor Brian Holden, his statement, yes, years back when he had said that are the most successful myopia control treatment, and lots of research papers where they have found the axial length progression to reduce, and it's about 30 to 50% reduction in the axial length, and hence it says it retards the progression. One cannot claim that it totally stops after wearing it. But of course, if somebody was to become -8 and you let them be at -3, it's a big thing done for those people. So the orthokeratology lens is typically like what you see in a reverse geometry lens. And because the paucity of time, I'll be quickly running through this. So you see there are zones in it. The center zone, which is the base curve, which is the flatter curve, which is going to align or which is going to actually compress the cornea. And what happens? The tissue is going to be shifted out, and it shifts out into a reverse curve. Then there is an alignment curve, which is going to be aligning with the cornea. And then the peripheral curve, which is the clearance to hold the tears. So this is typically the fluorescein pattern of an orthokeratology lens. Lens pressurizing, creating a positive pressure, pushing the epithelium. And the best thing is it's reversible. It doesn't cause any problem, and whatever the topographies that you get are the typical post PTKs, post LASIK, and those kind of options for your patients. And what one has to do, one has to just wear this lens last thing at night, wake up in the morning, first thing remove the lens, and you are neutralized with it. And throughout the day, you're without your glasses, without your contact lenses, and so beautifully it at the background is controlling the myopia. So I would say initial patient selection, however, we have orthokeratology for keratoconus, we have for presbyopia in the world also, but I would say that yes, for beginning, wherever we fit in, we would like to make it about 0.5 to -6 diopters with the rule 1.5 and against the rule 0.75. Of course, there are ranges which are much above. One of the good or biggest orthokeratologists, I would say, who's been fitting has even gone up to -10, -12 power, doing it easily. And there have been case report of a -16 case, of course, just seen those reports. Corneal topography, it has to be normal. There should not be any asymmetry. Shouldn't be lid abnormalities. Typically what you do in a workup of a contact lens, and Look at a cornea which has a better E value or a prolate cornea of 0.5 and more. Flatter readings also do not respond so well. So pick up your patient, and what is the pickup criteria? It's a child or a patient who's showing you rapid myopic progression. First thing, try to control. Can you really control? Do the K, HVID and refraction and work on it. The next step is look at the motivation, or at least I would say we're not fitting in the first sitting at times. We just talk about it to our patients. Every myopic child whom we find is progressing myopia, we're talking about myopic control. Not only that, education about going outdoors, less near work, environmental factors. That education is added along with saying that yes, you have an option now by wearing lenses at night, and in the morning you are off the lenses, and simultaneously it's the beauty that you control the myopia. So all the initial examination when you select a patient have been done, motivation is strong, and what's more important is the parents, the kind of motivation and the abilities we'll be talking about. What else can you talk about? We've been always talking about throughout my presentation, and the world is talking orthokeratology, linking it only to myopia control. Well, why not contact lens wearers who are not happy to wear contact lenses during the day? Maybe they're experiencing dryness or some problems. I've attempted one of such adult. It really works beautifully. They are happier to be using lenses only for night, and now they don't have to worry about all that care, lenses and dust, dryness, and other things. Of course, the dryness don't have to be severe. You can't do orthokeratology in a severe dry eye. Then we've had cases where there are medical reasons or occupational reasons for these patients to be getting into it. Leave alone that. Have I been given an option for make presbyopia also, and I'm waiting for that expert to do it? Of course, they are available lenses. To just say that, yes, I don't have to wear my glasses throughout the day. I can just sleep with that lens at night, and in the morning, my correction is gone. It's amazing. Look at the child who is a teenager. Of course, LASIK cannot be thought about it at this point. So let's go beyond myopia control also. We do a good thing about myopia, but we are also thinking about a child who cannot have a LASIK. Of course, when he's an adult and the cornea is healthy, anytime it can be reversed back or shifted back to any other modality of corrections they want to. But to control myopia, yes, it has to be a regular feature till the growth is going on. And the options are too many for people. Why are we not talking about it? Whenever there is a refraction myopic case or something, um, we talk about spectacles and contact lenses or LASIK. Why not orthokeratology? It's a safe procedure. It is not reversible. Anytime patient can go back. And if added above it is myopia control, it's far more advantageous. In fact, the patient selection in children is yes, motivation, maturity, and the adult support this child is going to have. You can really work on that teenager, and they are smarter. Believe me, they are smarter. My last week was an 11-year-old male child, and his indication was again myopia control. But it was just 3 days beyond that his adult support had. It's practically the adults who are worried that they're not taking the support from me now. So I'm just going to give you a case example of orthokeratology, quickly running into it to say how one of the few cases, which is one of my oldest, especially for myopia control. So this is a girl who came to the clinic, and she was my old patient's daughter. 0.75 was the prescription year back, and she's 12 years today. And when we did refraction, we find 1.75 diopter. So there's a rapid increase from 0.75 to 1.75 within almost a year. The prescription is here on your screen, where you can see small cylindrical errors. The next thing was the mother into a real panic situation, and the anxiety was, how far it will go, what will happen, is she going to land up with the same situation I am in, with a high myope and so much dependency on contacts and things like that. The very next thing we did, they were motivated. I spoke about orthokeratology and other techniques. And of course, you can't be telling children now, keep, don't do laptops or mobiles or things. Digital screen are part of life, and parents, despite complaining, they can't stop because everything is going on through it. So motivated mother, motivated daughter, and daughter was a beautiful one. So she really loves to be without her spectacle, and that was one of the reasons. She would carry her spectacles to school, and many times it's in the bag. She doesn't want to wear spectacle because she finds it's a cosmetic stigma to her. So we did the measurements, and all we need to do is the KHVID refraction. And then I'm talking about 2017 when we had the empirical fitting method done. We did the topographies, we mailed, and we had the Euclid brand lenses at that time. They customize space on it empirically and they give it to you. The lens comes to you and you fit on the eye. On the dispensing visit, before you insert the lens, which has come customized, made for this patient, you make the patient read the unaided visual accreditation. It was 6 by 60 and 6 by 60. Yes, we put the lens, 30 minutes, patient rested. We assess the fluorescein pattern. That day I was having my phone camera, not a good picture, but remove the lens, and within 30 minutes the vision was 624. The patient could perceive the concept of orthokeratology, that once I sleep, I wake up in the morning is a beautiful thing. I mean, we dispense with the full training session done, but the girl was so excited, and the mother, and this SMSs which kept coming into before even they started the procedure, how it's going to be. So the first follow-up of these patients is done after one night wear, and a topography follow-up. The patient walks into your clinic without the lens. Unlike the other lenses where you make them come with the follow-up with the lenses worn for a few hours. So this girl, the very next morning when she wakes up, she's 6-9 part, when she's around 10 o'clock appointment with us also. And there is hardly any residual error in the first day. The topographies showed no smileys or frowny faces and no such complications. We let her go. After 1 week, again, the follow-up has to be done. The patient reports on the 9th day. She's already 6 by 6 with plus 0.5. We make it a little plus. That's important because that's myopia control. Topographies are repeated, slit lamps is done, and the care enforced, but the child wants to do it herself. The mother was worried, but the child was so good in doing it herself on the 9th day itself. 2 months follow-up, things moving on, 6 by 6. And now I have this 2021, and the girl has already been second or third pair of orthokeratology lenses. She's still just 0.25 increase in one eye. And that too because of COVID, she had to be off her lenses for some time. I'm just going to share how she shared her bathroom pictures with wearing the lens at night, the last thing, brush your teeth, uses lubricants and cleaning solutions. So this was the video in 2000. It was hardly a month or two after her dispensing, but she's much more grown up now. And she's motivated many of her peer friends in talking about my numbers may be controlled. So that's as easy, but the removal technique, we have to be specific to say that you have to put lubricating when you wake up in the morning, and you have to use the plungers for removing these lenses. It's barely a 30-second procedure. It's not a big hassle for these. And then, of course, keeping them safe into the solutions and things like that. So this is how, and of course, a feedback which is very positive, seeing the time running around, I would just say, you have to be ready for today and tomorrow. This is what is needed. You have to talk to your patients if you want the myopia progression in this world to at least somewhere slow down. Success is assured. For all my patients that I did, it was. It's the proper patient selection you have to do. You have the trial lens fitting method also nowadays. And this trial lens fitting method is so good for us, you can actually invest, and I invested later into those trial sets, and you have many brands coming in. It's an easy fitting if you know the rigid lens fittings. You have to follow up your patient. This is important, and you need a topographer to do orthokeratology. care and maintenance, as even Daddy had said, we need it. Very, very important step for any contact lens. Most important blocks, it says, be proactive. At least today, start talking to all the parents and children who visit your clinic about orthokeratology and myopia control and the other processes. And not only parents and children, I would say, yes, why not adults? Why not talk about them as an alternative to vision correction? So be the initial orthokeratologists in your country, grow as a practitioner, and learn from others. So it's a unique form of refractive correction. It offers a range of lifestyle advantages to the patient compared with the conventional modalities of vision correction. And that's one of the things. One thought which I forgot to add in is even the LASIK dropouts, adults who have thin corneas or are not interested or are the fence sitters, think about orthokeratology in it. So a lot more opportunities for optometrists to go get into. Think about it and start it now.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful talk and sharing your experience and knowledge on orthokeratology.
Thank you.